Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Moletrap coming at you, and we are doing the very last triple commentary of this season, and, very last commentary of the week of this season, and it is, as I slipped out, a triple commentary. This time I've got Diggity with me and Klazart, and we are going to be doing a game between Much and Jaedong, and there you see them on your screen right now. They're showing their total career stats. It seems like out of the total times they've met in their lives, Jaedong is up 3-2. So this is a chance for Much to bring it up to 3-3 going into their MSL match. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. 5.5 hours from the time of this recording, these two players are going to be going at it in a best-of-5 in the MSL to go on to face, presumably, Flash in the finals. So this should be an exciting preview. And just give the countdown here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And I'm very excited to see how this match is going to go. This is basically going to give us a gauge of how these players are going to be able to play in the MSL and kind of give us a preview of what that best of 5 is going to look like. This is Jaedong here in the red at the 12 o'clock position, and that means Much is going to be white at the 9 o'clock position.
Yeah, this is going to be huge. I can't wait to see these two guys go. I don't think either one of them's playing at their top level at the moment. Jaedong, obviously, still, I think, yeah, he took the last MSL, didn't he? So still the MSL champion. No, he took the OSL. Still the OSL champion. No, that was Flash. I'm totally botching it here. Anyway, but Jaedong, still the champion. Still the champion. But at the same time, he hasn't been playing like Jaedong as of terribly late. And also, in general, I think Much. He was playing very, very strong, but recently he's playing ferociously every once in a while, but I don't think he's been playing ferociously as consistently as he was, I would say, about 3 weeks ago. Still playing very, very well, though, so I think this is going to be a big indicator as to basically who can take the games down. It's going to be on Katrina, and most people say, yeah, this is a Protoss map, but honestly, I can't think of ever seeing Jaedong lose this map, so we'll see how he does. I'd like to see his career stats on it. I wish I'd looked it up ahead of time, but que sera, sera. Jaedong, in the meantime, bringing that Overlord, he's going to get a quick scout off on Much at the 9 o'clock position, almost basically straight off. And there's CJ Coach right there. This is a big game, actually, because you can see CJ is, this is do or die for CJ. This is do or die for League Half Oz. If CJ wins this, that is match, and this is getting towards the end of Pro League, as we said, and so it's very, very close. Every win counts. CJ's basically out of it, but Oz really needs to pull this down. For CJ, it's basically pride, and now it looks like Jaedong going for that 12th hatch. He's got that Zerg drone going. It looks like he's going to put that hatchery down. It looks like Much going to go for a quick Nexus, too. He hasn't put down that gateway, and this could be dangerous because Jaedong's going to scout this off basically straight off. He's very ballsy. Lucky he didn't get 9 pooled or something.
Yeah, I guess when you get to Diggity's age, everything starts to blur together, and, you know, OSL, MSL, this season, last season, season before last, you know, they all become the same. But Forge going down for Much, and he's now going to send his robot scout. He has put the Nexus down first. Luckily for him, Jaedong has gone for a 12 pool and hasn't even, for a 12 hatch, hasn't even gone for a 12 pool. But the spawning pool now going down for Jaedong. So Much is probably going to be in a good enough position to deal with this, especially since he's also scouting in the right direction. Jaedong did the right thing in keeping his Overlord away from Much's base. He didn't bring it in within range, but nevertheless, Much is still going to probably scout in the right direction. Jaedong sending a drone out as well. I'm not sure. I think he was trying to avoid the incoming probe. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to try. Maybe he's going to try and put a hatchery in the. He's obviously seen that Forge from Much with his Overlord, so he's now putting the 3rd hatchery down at the expo just outside of his base, and it'll be interesting to see how his strategy pans out from here. He's obviously decided to counter. He realized that he's not going to be able to break into Much's base because Much has got the gateway up as well as Photon, and Jaedong has now. Once Much's probe has come within Jaedong's base, Jaedong sees no further reason to hide his Overlord from him, so he's brought it to get a better scout off and to see exactly what Much is up to. Much meanwhile has started up his assimilator. So interesting posture set up from both players here. I think on the issue of seeing the form of the players in this game, I'm not sure how much we know what a big difference maps make in terms of StarCraft, and obviously this map is Katrina, which is no longer in use in the MSL or the OSL. So I think this game will probably have a bigger influence on the players' confidence leading up into the next match against each other, much more so than an indication of their current form right now. because a player's performance can be, to an extent, influenced by the map. Obviously, form is a factor, but it can be influenced to a large extent by the map. So I guess we'll just have to see how much this game impacts on the semi-finals.
Yeah, and just to note here, Jaedong, by the way, I have to disagree a little bit. I think Jaedong has been pretty much on top of his game lately. You can see here he's actually not gotten many Zerglings at all, just a few Zerglings, and just getting a few more now. He started off with just, it looked like 2 or 4, and that is kind of the Jaedong that we saw during his big reign, I guess you could say. We saw him, in fact, going all econ, barely spending anything on Lings unless he had to, and then coming out later on with a lot of units. And I have to give a little bit of a spoiler here for his game against Chalrenge, actually, which incidentally was played after this game was played, but I actually watched it before I watched this game. So even though it was post this game, it was an indication of how this game would go. It was on Katrina, and Klazart and Diggity, you can close your ears for 30 seconds if you don't want to hear, but Chalrenge got absolutely slaughtered by Jaedong. Jaedong looked beautiful, and Chalrenge played really, really well, but there was just absolutely nothing he could do to counter what Jaedong was doing. He was just an absolute animal, an absolute monster. And so Jaedong does seem to be playing his top condition. He kind of awoke against Splash and has been playing really well since then. He's got a Hydralisk Den up, and his Lair is going to be coming up pretty soon too, so I wouldn't be surprised if he actually timed that intentionally to get lurkers as quickly as possible. Usually, I mean, we probably would have seen a Spire by now if he was going to get a more of a different combo and maybe try and get Scourges to combat Corsairs and what have you. So he's probably going to go for Hydralisks, obviously, to deal with Corsairs, and maybe some Lurkers is my suspicion, but I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, Much, that probe is still alive, that's interesting, but it doesn't look like Jaedong's going to let him get into his base here. It looks like it is going to turn into a longer game here. Oh, I'm sorry, real quick, I did happen to look up the stats, and Jaedong is undefeated on Katrina SE.
Sweet. Thought so. It looks like a Templar Archives in the background for Much. Much is going to need those Templar out. Looks like Jaedong's essentially going to go for a Lurker containment. He's in a really good position to do so. Has the 3 bases up. Has basically gone all economy. And that's very intelligent, knowing that Much is basically went for that fast expansion. Couldn't get enough Zealots out really fast. As you can see, he's only got 3 Zealots at single Dragoon. Dragoon is going to manage to take out that Overlord, getting 2 gateways down. He's only got 2 up. But basically 2 gateways versus 3 hatcheries at the moment. Jaedong, if we start just pumping troops right now, would have a lot out, and he is starting to produce those Hydralisks. He's going to have a full control group of Hydralisks out of those 4 hatcheries momentarily, chasing down that Probe Scout. I think Much sees this coming, though. The question is will he have... Oh, that Dark Templar is absolutely vital here. Dark Templar out in the field is going to slow things down a little bit for Jaedong. I don't think he has the speed upgraded to Overlord, so he's going to have to wait for those to approach. That Zergling getting absolutely molested there by that Dark Templar. And as you can see, yeah, those Overlords just moving slowly along. He's going to have to wait for the speed upgrade before he can crash this down. In the meantime, Much has spotted that entire incoming force, getting a couple cannons down. But I worry about Much right now because he is going to be able to hold this off. He's got those cannons coming in right now. And there's a speed upgrade, so actually maybe it'll be tight here. No, Jaedong going to back off though and give vital time for those cannons to go up. But in the meantime, Weapons 1 also upgrading, but Much is basically contained in his base. He doesn't have a lot of forces on the ground. He's spending a lot of money on basically static defense and cannons. I'm not sure it's going to be really difficult. In the meantime, Jaedong owns the entire map. It looks like he's thinking, I see some red there at the inside 2 o'clock position. I think he's thinking about expanding there momentarily.
Yeah, it looks like Jaedong has put a hatchery down at the inside 2 o'clock position. I think that DT was a great idea for Much because not only did it buy him time for cannons, but crucially it bought him time for energy for his High Templar, which also popped out just shortly after the DT to get up that storm just in case he needed defense. Obviously Jaedong deciding to not approach enough. He did try and send a couple of Zerglings to try and draw a storm out from Much, but Much wasn't tempted by that. Now he's going to try and use the Dark Templar Scout. I think the other crucial thing that we saw was that Much hadn't been able to get a scout into Jaedong's base. Once again bring the DT out. Jaedong has got Overlords well positioned to try and intercept this, and he's got Hydralisk waiting, so Much isn't going to be able to do anything with this DT. He's not going to be able to get a scout off. He might be able to scout that inside left position at the 2 o'clock base though, as Jaedong hasn't been able to take that DT out. He's got a couple of Lurkers out, so he's well set up, as Diggity predicted, for that Lurker contain. Meanwhile, Robotics Facility going up for Much. And unfortunately, again, there's two problems for Much here. Firstly, he obviously, because Jaedong scattered him so early, Jaedong was able to go for the perfect counter strategy to his expand. Storm's going off on Jaedong's in-place lurkers. One lurker gets killed, second almost dead, and Much kills it off with the Storm before. So Much playing a very turtle-ish game here, and he's going to have to try and build up some forces before he pushes out. And Jaedong doing the right thing to expand. I think that Much is probably going to be overwhelmed by the time he comes out because of Jaedong's ability to have essentially the entire map. So I think that was the first problem. The second problem for Much was that he was unable to get a scout in Jaedong's base. His first probe was taken out at Jaedong's main. He wasn't able to get past that and see at what time Jaedong's lair went up at the 11 o'clock position, and secondly, and Much just doing a little bit of harass with the Dark Templar at the inside 2 o'clock base, and secondly, when he sent his second probe in, that too was intercepted. So Much was not able to get a scout into Jaedong's base, and therefore he didn't know whether Jaedong had a Hydralisk den down or whether he was going to be bringing Mutalisk, and therefore Much was, you can see Much has a couple of photon cannons already up at that 7 o'clock position. So he was forced to put up defenses. Meanwhile, Sunken Colony is up for Jaedong at the inside 2 o'clock base, so he was forced to put up defenses at his natural expo as well as his main within the mineral line in anticipation of Mutalisk, and obviously get that High Templar out very early. So he was forced to commit extra resources to that because he didn't know whether he was dealing with Hydralisks and Lurkers or Mutalists or what exactly he was dealing with, and I think a combination of all of that has put Jaedong in a very strong position.
I actually checked, and it seems that the only matches that Jaedong has ever lost on any version of Katrina were 2 games to Flash. No one else has ever beaten him on Katrina, so that goes in his favor. Although I believe Mr. Bidder did mention in the face-off for this match that Much was basically assigned to Katrina for his Pro League team for CJ, so he knows this map pretty well as well. But I think Klazart is right that this isn't looking too good for Much. He's just finally getting his observer out, so he's just finally going to be able to move out of his base. I think it's critical for him that he try and take a third base here, because obviously, you're right, Jaedong taking over a lot of the map. He's got 4 bases right now. You can stand to be a little bit behind. Oh, the observer looks like it might get... Oh, the observer gets sniped! Barely. Man, those Dragoons almost picked off those Scourges. It looked like they even killed off one of the Scourges, but the second Scourge got through and took out that observer. And that's going to keep Much in his base for another... Never mind, a second observer coming out immediately, but still, that just is going to delay Much just that much longer. He's going to try and get his third base up. I think whether or not he gets this third base is going to be key as to how the game goes in the future. And just to note real quick, Jaedong is at 1-1 upgrades, and I believe Much is at least 1 weapons. I haven't seen his upgrades lately.
In the meantime, Jaedong already at Hive. This is extremely scary. He's going at Hive at 3 gas, so wow, Zergling's coming across the south end of the map. This is beautiful timing for him. Worst timing for Much. Much is pushing up and trying to... Ooh, nice Psystorm though. Taking out a couple drones, but he's going to end up losing that second expansion in the meantime. Zergling's pushing up. It looks like they are crack upgraded, and that Nexus is going to go down so fast. Zergling's running in there, just going insane. Psystorm dodging out of the Psystorm, so the Zergling's living. They're going to be able to go to the bar and talk about this with each other. Man, remember that time we went up and killed that Nexus? That was awesome. Woo! And have a couple beers and cheer, dude. In the meantime, Much going to be delayed even longer, and Jaedong taking over economically at this point, has both those evolution chambers down. Also the Defiler mount out, so going to have the Defilers now. Much being a little bit sloppy here, running his units across that Lurker. I don't think it's going to hurt him too much though. The Observer coming up alongside, killing it as an afterthought. Just losing a little bit of shield in the meantime. And then I guess he was trying to hunt down those Zerglings, but those Zerglings... Wow, nice little contain... I like that kind of placement there by Jaedong. The Lurker's over the cliffside, so units pushing around the side. First of all, they're kind of in the fog of war, so it's hard to get up that ramp, and so it's a nice defensive spot. Once again, Much caught out of position. Zergling's pushing in. It looks like they might be able to take down at least 1 cannon, might be able to get the second. This is going to force Much, I think he wants to go up and do some economic damage here, but not able to do so, just because Jaedong just really keeping him on his toes. Jaedong in the meantime now has Defilers out. This is going to be extremely difficult at this point. Another Psystorm there. That's a pretty good 9 kills on that Templar in the meantime, so Hero Templar, at least something going right for Much. But in the meantime, yeah, I just feel like this game's kind of getting out of hand for him. Jaedong really doing a fantastic job of denying that second expansion. In the meantime, really macroing up.
Yeah, Jaedong is now basically switched to mass production of units. He had his hatcheries up, he's had his economy that he's been able to upgrade uncontested while he had Much locked down, and you only need three Lurkers to keep Much in his base because of Much's choice of strategy. It took a while for him, and Much now getting a couple of storms on those Lurkers at the cliffs. So Much is doing a good job, though, I have to say. Much is doing one of the key things for Protoss is to keep their army alive as they build up, because their units are so much more powerful and so much more expensive. They're a lot less expendable, but unfortunately a few of Much's Zealots being caught out by Zerglings, and decent micro by both players. Jaedong trying to use the Zerglings to focus on the Templar, but perfect storming by Much takes out the Zerglings before they can do any significant damage. Jaedong has been sending out these groups of Zerglings to raid Much to try and harass him and hurt him and pick off lone units. But I have to say, Much is doing a great job of keeping his units alive, keeping them bunched up together, and gradually building up a destructive force, which he's going to at some point be able to make a push against Jaedong in. And obviously, one of the problems with Katrina is that there are less open spaces, which makes it a little bit more difficult for Zerg to flank. Much doesn't have much in the way of Jaedong doesn't have much in the way of starting defense. He's got a good number of lurkers now, and once again going raiding with those Zerglings, and they're going to get past. And this has been a real thorn in the side for Much, because now he's going to lose that expansion. I think Jaedong could have gone for the photon cannons first, but he's insisted on cancelling that Nexus. But Much has once again lost the expansion, the inside expansion at the 9 o'clock position. Meanwhile, he's pushing ahead to try and take on play going off from Jaedong on a few Zealots and Dragoons. He didn't catch as many units as I think he would have hoped to, but he's also got Dark Swarm. Meanwhile, once again with the Zerglings, again not great defense by Much. 2 photon cannons going down to Jaedong, so Jaedong keeping Much on the back foot. But I think the most crucial thing for me, it looks like Jaedong might be going in for a massive drop here, coming into Much's either off expansion. Yeah, it looks like he's going to come into the last section. There are 3 High Templar there though, so he's going to have to decide to cancel that, because those High Templar would have wiped Jaedong's forces as they dropped. But this is going to be crucial right here. Massive drop coming up from Jaedong, and it'll be interesting to see how much damage, if any, he can inflict, or if he's actually going to pull out. Looks like he's actually going to pull out. Much well defended here. For me, the most crucial factor in this game so far is the fact that most of Much's ground forces are still alive, and that still gives him a small chance. But now the big attack coming in at the off expo. Much had moved the units out, strangely enough, try and maneuver, and Jaedong with an opportunity are taking that Nexus down.
Oh man, and I don't know if it looked like he might have kind of got the storm off to the side a little bit, but when you storm a Nexus, it doesn't kill any of the Zerglings around it. It looked like he may have actually just stormed the Nexus straight away. I'm not sure if there's even troops in those Overlords or not. He might be going for that drop after all. Now he ran all of his Overlords through Much's base all the way into the back, and now they're finally dropping forces out here, whether or not they were in there before. And a swarm is going to go down right on the probe line. Wow. And Much's forces are way out. His entire army is way on the right side of the map. There's no way he can bring it back to save this. He's going to have to fend this off with just reinforcements. He's trying to defend with just his probes there, but it's not working very well at all. And so this base is going to go down as well. And really, I think that that's what's going to win the game for Jaedong in the long run is the fact that he's keeping Much's expansions down. I mean, basically Much is mining off of 2 bases right now. And Jaedong is still only mining off of 4 though. Much at least has been able to position his army outside of Jaedong's base and keep him from moving out also. So Jaedong kept to 4 bases at the moment. So it's really, I think it's going to come down to a matter of expansions in the long run. And yeah, Jesus, another Nexus got taken down. Oh man, this is just getting crazy. Actually, I don't know if that Nexus is going to go down after all. It might not. But if he loses that Nexus, the Zerglings pumping away at it. The storm's going off on a lot of them, but there's a few Zerglings left on the Nexus. Nothing left to hurt those Zerglings. The Nexus does go down. So Much down to 1 base mining right now. And that is not good. You cannot be down 4 bases to 1.
Oof, I think that was a calculated maneuver. I feel like Jaedong all over the place is just outmaneuvering Much across the field. Much goes out, Jaedong sneaks underneath. He's really using the flexibility of Zerg to the full, and now he has the Ultralis Caverns up. All the units he's spent thus far, it's basically been drones and Zerglings and Overlords, very, very cheap units. So he's got a lot of gas to work with at the moment. He's got a couple lurkers, but a lot of lurkers still from the very beginning of the game. In the meantime, just doing a lot of upgrades, and very clever by Much, hiding those Dragoons in the back behind the mineral line so the Zerglings don't pick them off. They might be able to stop a little bit. Wow, they got 10 kills up there. Ouch. They might be able to do actually 10 kills apiece, so maybe we're cliffside. Jaedong trying to hunt them down out of vengeance, but probably not going to be able to at the moment. Probably going to lose another expansion result. Another storm going off, but only catching a single drone in the meantime. But heck, I assume Much has been doing that consistently, but Much in a lot of trouble. He is starting to mine at that inside 9 o'clock position, but only mineral only, and honestly he needs more gas. It's really gas that's going to protect him at this point. He needs High Templar specifically in that Psy Storm. He's got a lot of units out there, and now the Dragoons revealing themselves going to be able to take that hatchery out. But I think that drop that was pushing in, it was a brilliant fake forcing Much to draw his troops away from that secondary and then crashing down on that secondary with the Zerglings, and then as they're going back out to try to retake that secondary, dropping them behind the base. So it's just some beautiful troop movement, especially on this map, and that just shows you why Jaedong is basically, for all intents and purposes, undefeated, taking at least on SC. Granted, he did lose twice to Flash. But in the meantime, I feel like this is well in hand for him. Much needs to score some incredible lows fairly quickly, but the longer this goes on, I feel like the more gas that Jaedong's going to build up, and that's more ultilisks he's going to have out in the field. Looks like a probe is trying to sneak in the bottom right-hand corner if you check the minimap, but it's just not happening. And I think Jaedong can actually reclaim that upper right-hand corner anytime he feels like it with just his massive production.
Yeah, he's got the Ultralisk out now. Much has meanwhile most of his... A great storm from Much from above the cliff, getting a massive kill on those drones at that inside expo at the 2 o'clock position. That was horrible for Jaedong. He lost quite a lot of drones there. It's not going to bother him too much though. The key is that he has done significant damage to Much's economy. He's killed off so many expansions, and Much is very limited in his production, and unfortunately for him, his forces are being whittled down. And again, Much pushing out, losing a massive group of Zealots to about 4 Lurkers. I'm not sure even if he even had an observer there. He just ran those Zealots out, so basically his reinforcements have been cut off by Jaedong. Jaedong now also launching an attack at the inside expo at the 9 o'clock position. Unfortunately, Much has got very little left to defend with. Final last-ditch storm going off, just keeping him in the game. But really, it's looking desperate and hopeless for him. Yeah, those 4 Lurkers positioned just outside of Much's base, cutting off his supply route, cutting off his the route for his reinforcements. And Jaedong has used those Zerglings to great effect. He's just basically consigned Much to a slow and painful death with those Zerglings, constantly attacking with them. And I haven't seen such effective Zergling play in a long time. And to me, this is GG, and has been for a little while now. Even though Much has prevented Jaedong from taking another expansion at the 3 o'clock position, it looks like Jaedong might be taking one at the 6 o'clock position. But Jaedong's got such huge positional advantage, as well as advantage in terms of his upgrades and his tech and everything else. And I'm not sure how effective those masses of High Templar are going to be, because that's all essentially that Much has got left. And now Jaedong is coming in for the kill for Much's main, and Much is going to lose this as well. I don't think there's any just overwhelming weight of numbers, huge numbers of Ultralisks. Those Archons are not going to be ready in time, so this is going to be GG right here. And Jaedong's going to take a lot of confidence going into the next game. I'm not sure if we can write Much off on the basis of this, considering how much of a stronghold Katrina is for Jaedong. But I guess we'll have to wait and see till the semifinals.
10 gigantic, enormous, growling, tusked nails in Much's coffin. This is GG. I don't think there's a... Well, no, I'm certain there's no way that Much can come back from this, unless Jaedong decides to, like... Unless Jaedong stands up and, like, goes to take a pee break for, like, 10 minutes, then Much could come back. But other than that, those Ultralisks are an attack move. It doesn't matter what Jaedong does right now; they're gonna own anyways. I was gonna say that at least Much kept Jaedong to 4 bases the entire game. I mean, Jaedong just finally getting his 5th base in the bottom right-hand corner now that the game is actually over. So at least Much was able to accomplish that, and you have to admit that he didn't really lose his army for most of the game either. He kept that army alive, and it was the pecking, the Zergling pecking that really did it in for Much, going in and just sniping a Nexus here and there. And honestly, I think that Much probably would have won this game if he'd somehow been able to keep those Nexuses alive. If I don't know, if he'd had more Storm, or if he'd had a few Reavers or something like that around, although I don't know where he would have gotten the resources for all that. But anyway, yeah, Much's last-ditch Nexus that Diggity was banking on getting sniped by 6 Zerglings. Yeah, there's no way. But Jaedong looking really, really incredibly good in this game. I do have to say that Much, I think, looked good also. I don't think he was pwned by any means. He put up a damn good fight, and he just got slightly outplayed. It'll be interesting to see how he can fare in the MSL. I think that he's got what it takes to at least, if I think he probably is going to go down, but I think he's got what it takes to at least take a game or two off of Jaedong at some point in the series, because I mean, it's not easy to hold Jaedong off for 20 minutes, honestly, especially when he's playing like this, and Much has managed to do that, so we got to give him at least some props for that.
Yeah, more than just hold him for 20 minutes, just outmaneuvering him left and right, in my opinion. He's just looking really good. Had the Defilers up very rapidly, and these Ultralisks are just kind of the icing on the cake, or maybe even the cake itself. It's nice to have the cake and be able to eat it too here, as they're approaching and just destroying everything in sight. I'm surprised. Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised. Well, the Dragoons, I guess, are the icing in this case. I kind of worry if this was. Why isn't much GGing? This game has been over for quite a long time. He's just holding out to the very last minute. There's still a game. There is an ace match to go, so CJ not out of it. There he's finally GGing. Wow, but waiting to basically his last pylon and 2 gateways, hoping, I guess, that Nexus would somehow make it up and be able to mine 800 minerals for him, as the 3 Ultralisks were surrounding it. But Jaedong looking awesome, looking very confident, and yeah, he's going to be a scary opponent for much here. I think this is a pretty big indicator. He looked really, really sharp there.
My PC went crazy in the middle of that, guys. I don't know what happened, where I seemed to lag severely in Windows Movie Maker Player and as well as on Ventrilo, so I'm not sure what happened, but I think it was towards the end after I'd finished making my last comment, so hopefully it didn't mess up the commentary too much. But I have to disagree with Moletrap about Much putting up a fight. I don't think there was a fight there. I think this was a circus and Much was the clown, and Jaedong essentially ran rings around him endlessly throughout that game. And I didn't really see Much putting up much of a fight. His third expansion was severely delayed by Jaedong. He was stuck in his base for ages. When he finally got out, he didn't seem to be able to get his nexuses up for a long time. His ground force proved ineffectual. He didn't really kill any of Jaedong's bases. He managed to stop, I suppose, Jaedong from taking the 3 o'clock expansion for a little bit, but even that proved ineffectual, and he was completely outplayed in that game as far as I'm concerned. But again, I wouldn't necessarily write him off for the semifinals despite that performance, but I think he could have still done a lot better.
Well, I don't think he had much of a chance in that game after his first couple Nexuses got taken out. But I mean, he played damn well considering the fact that he was running off of 1 or 2 bases the entire game versus 4 bases, and he managed to hold Jaedong off that much. I don't know, I guess it is a matter of opinion in a sense. But I'm very much looking forward to the semifinals coming up. I think either way, even if Much gets slaughtered 3-0, it's going to be an exciting 3 games. So I think that's what's important.
Yeah, he played damn well, considering he got completely owned.
Precisely. Exactly.
I don't know if I can emphasize that early scout enough. I mean, Jaedong just rode that. I mean, played just not just tactical decisions, but just even the way he maneuvered his overlords around. I was very much impressed here. So yeah, I hope for a good set. But honestly, looking at this, I have a feeling Jaedong might just run away with it. But again, I guess we'll see in a couple hours, and it's pretty close to call. I mean, I can't throw much out of it because he is, I mean, much. But I think if they both play consistently as at this game as they are going to be playing momentarily, I'm completely losing this statement. That's okay. Basically, it'll be a quick set.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm not ready to make a prediction yet. But if I had to bet my house, it would be on Jaedong, definitely. I wouldn't be putting it up on Much based on that performance. But I mean, as I said, we've got to factor the map in, and obviously the fact that both players wouldn't want to reveal their main strategies. But this is Katrina, which is not going to be played at all in the match, and that's obviously, I think that's going to favor Much more than anything else. And maybe Jaedong might be a little bit overconfident after the way he completely destroyed Much in this game, and that can be something else that Much can work to his advantage if he's shrewd. So we'll just have to see what happens.
Indeed, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what happens. So unless there's any other thoughts, thank you everybody very much for listening.
Thanks, guys.